Welcome to the Sales Prospector Show, supported by Lease A, Sales Rep, an Inc. 5000 company helping our clients grow sales by securing guaranteed appointments, qualified leads, and guaranteed contracts for their services and products across the U.S. I'm your host, Gil Pagan. You can also find us at leaseasalesrep.com, and all the major social media channels have our content available. Wanted to chat with you today about 5 things you need to know about the Chief Security Officer role, that's CSO role. Cyber attacks, as you know, are becoming more frequent in healthcare in particular, and in other large organizations, forcing them to enhance their cybersecurity efforts from every angle, including inside the C-suite. I found that one emerging leadership role that is coming out a lot over the last few years is the Chief Security Officer. At some organizations, the leader in this position is charged with maintaining the physical security and safety of employees, while at other companies, this particular leader may take on responsibility of IT system security, in which case those employees are often referred to as a Chief Information Security Officer, or CISO. Often the line sometimes between a CSO and a CISO can blur. Here are 5 things that I want to share with you that you need to know about the emerging CSO role. That's the Chief Security Officer role. CSOs are generally charged with upholding the organization's entire security posture, physical and digital. CSOs also frequently own or participate closely in related areas such as business continuity planning, loss prevention, and fraud prevention and privacy. Number 2, these employees often must create a way for their organizations to value security as a strategic asset and part of its mission rather than as damage control. So the organization really has to see cybersecurity and protection of data and information as part of its role versus being reactive. They should be proactive. There's enough of a sample size of attacks and breaches across multiple companies to know that there's definitely a need for companies to be taking security seriously now. A more proactive approach is for companies to think about what data they own and how the compromise of that data could represent a material threat to their customers and to their business. What would happen if the data was compromised without a plan in place? Looking at it through this particular security lens at the board or at the executive level will drive a decision for a company to hire a possible CSO. Point number 3 that I want to share with you as well is that when companies are looking for a CSO, organizations should be considering applicants that have technical and functional competencies to demonstrate that they are qualified. Some organizations like to consider applicants with a white hat or kind of ethical hacking background, is what I would call it. It's also important to consider applicants' experience with business continuity planning, auditing, and risk management, as well as contract and vendor negotiations. Point 4 is that most CSOs report directly into the C-suite to the CEO, while others report out to the board or to the CIO, a Chief Information Officer. It really changes across companies based on company size and industry vertical. Each model has its own strengths and weaknesses. However, whoever the CSO will report to, the executive team should also be involved in that decision-making process, who they report to. The people who are going to interact most with this person, more than likely, if the organization is big enough, will be your COO, Chief Operating Officer, and your CIO, Chief Information Officer. So they should be intimately involved in determining who should be hired, interviewing, and selecting that person, given they will be interacting with them most of the time. And point number 5 is, I wanted to share a little bit about what a CSO, the type of responsibilities that a CSO may undertake. It may be they will be responsible for leading operational risk management activities. They could be responsible for overseeing a network of security directors and vendors, as well as the physical safety of employees and visitors. They could be responsible for developing and implementing global security policies, some standards and guidelines and procedures to address security system maintenance, and they also could be responsible for directing incident response and planning. So the role of the CSO is growing, given that a lot of our interaction with companies and vendors and data is all online, and just by the virtue of that, it's susceptible to hacking. So there's all these cyber threats and concerns about people's personal data and also business records and intellectual property and a lot of business secrets and things of that nature. So this role will continue to grow over the next, probably over the next decade, as everything continues to move to a cloud-based system moving online. Hopefully this podcast was helpful to you. Again, I'm Gil Pagan from Lease A Sales Rep, an Inc. 5000 company, and you're listening to the Sales Prospector Show. Thank you for listening. Please share this podcast with others. Leave a 5-star rating. We'd really appreciate it. And if you want us to chat with you about your particular business or need for sales, contracts, leads, appointments, whatever kind of sales needs you have, reach out to us via leaseasalesrep.com or give us a call on any of the numbers on our website in any of the offices that we have. Thank you for listening.